The show is about to start. Thank you for your cooperation. Enjoy the show, and please come back and visit us again.
Evening, Slough Sport Radio, 558 AM, DAB online and via your Alexa smart speaker. My name's Aaron Paul. I'm with you for another couple of hours now. Time to talk all things Wombles. Come and join the South West London Sound. Joining it this evening are the chaps from the 9 Years podcast, the man with the finest beard.
Thank you.
In the KT, SW, and what other postcodes?
Oh, SM, possibly.
SM, yeah. Where is SM?
That's Morden, isn't it?
Morden?
Morden Sutton, isn't it? That's all there.
Yeah, all right, find the SM postcode, KT postcode, SW postcodes. He's got the finest beard, coiffured beard in those areas. It's Stuart Deakins.
Thank you, nice to see you again.
Yeah, likewise.
Twice in a weekend.
I know, it's getting emotional. We're becoming mates now. And it's a nasty one out of the Draper brothers. It's Nasty Nick.
That's harsh.
That's a good name, Nasty Nick.
I've heard that since Big Brother days.
That was John Altman from EastEnders, wasn't it?
Of course, yeah, I forgot about him.
Do you remember him?
I do, but I was thinking more of the Big Brother guy. The guy that cheated on the first series of Big Brother. Whatever his name was.
Oh, yeah, that's going back.
That's going back.
He jumped over the wall, didn't he, or something?
I don't remember.
Yeah. No, wasn't that Bez from the Happy Mondays?
Yeah, that was it.
That's right.
Yeah.
You look like you're going out or you're going somewhere.
Oh, you're very kind of you. This is just me trying to stay cool in this ridiculously horrible hot weather that I hate. I do not like it. This studio is gorgeous. It's so nice and cool in here. I could stay in here forever.
You enjoying the weather, Barnum?
I'm a bit cold in here, actually, mate.
Wear a hat.
Yeah, don't do that.
Wear a hat, pal.
I love the weather, I must admit. I do enjoy it. It's just such a shame that it comes in the season, doesn't it? Do you know what I mean? But,
yeah, I know. It was a gorgeous day.
Lovely.
Gorgeous day down at the at Cherry Red Records Stadium last night, Kingsmeadow. A point dropped. A point gained, 2 points dropped. I see it as a point gained. I think it's 8 points out the last 4 or 5 games that Wimbledon have picked up. That's not bad form, but yet again, I read today, people are calling for Neil's head. People are, they're not satisfied. Well, I see it as a case of that was a 6-pointer. Both sides have come out with a half-decent result. We're outside looking in rather than inside looking out now.
Yeah, and you can only sack one manager per day, can't you? And one of the best ones been today, so
I was going to say
it's been enjoyable. It's been enjoyable today. Yeah, Joey.
Yeah. I was going to say, what sort of club would sack their manager with 3 games to go? And then I went, oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, there we are. That sort of club. But yeah, what a shame.
I'll be really interested to watch the apparently there's going to be a media address on Monday.
Yes.
By what's his face?
Yeah, they want him out now, don't they? They don't think he's fit to run.
Really? It'd be funny if the fans come in and take it over. I mean, how many are there? 4, 5, 6 of them, They'll all be able to have a right big percentage each, won't they?
Yeah, they'll be a score Monday as well. Anyway, we digress.
Anyway, great news. Can I just say a big shout out to Chris Powell, by the way. Thank you, Chris Powell.
Well,
you've done a sterling job. We love you to bits. You're a great guy. Nice one, Chrissy. What was it, chaps? And I have this feeling that everything's going to be all right.
Yeah, I think we're staying up now without any issue. I mean, yesterday was disappointing because we could have been over the line already. If we'd have held on to those leads, we'd be safe. We'd be home and dry now, wouldn't we? But 3 games to go. Doncaster away is a great fixture, I think. Bury at home is a great fixture on the last day. I can't see any way we're going to fall under the trapdoor, especially as teams down the bottom, they're going to drop points against each other as well. So,
yeah. Big night Tuesday, isn't it? There's a lot of games going on Tuesday, so that'll give us a clearer picture. I wouldn't say I'm worried until it's mathematically impossible for anyone to catch us. Then I'm always a bit panicky. That's just because I think League One status is massive with a new ground, on the rise. And I think, it wouldn't be devastating if you were a League Two club going to a new ground. But I just think one step away from a Championship in a new ground is a really good level to go into a new ground on. Yeah. But I suppose it felt like 2 points. It felt like 2 points dropped for me just for the fact that we had a lead with 15, 20 to go. And you think, if you get a lead when you're not playing well, and Neil Ardley admitted that yesterday, it wasn't a good performance, but to be 2-up with say 15 to go, I would just be disappointed we were able to hang on. That's just me being critical.
Yeah, and I also think, we talk about the performance not being great yesterday, there were lots of factors, options, injuries that sort of dictated the 11 that could start, and trying to get those 11 on the pitch and trying to get them into a system that would work for us, which we couldn't quite do. And also, the week before at Walsall, we were the team that needed the 3 points, whereas this week she was on the other foot. Oldham were the team that really could have done hugely with the 3 points yesterday. And that changes how teams approach, especially in that second half when they came out for us and we couldn't live with them. And it comes back to a topic we've had this before, haven't we? Aggression.
I mean, look, having spoken to Richie Wellens yesterday after the game, the older manager, he was furious. Okay. You know, it's 5 draws on the bounce for his mob. He says they should have won 4 of them, including that one yesterday. I think that they played well, but they only capitalised on what Wimbledon didn't do, which was be more, you know, have more bite in the midfield, have someone who's going to go in and put in those 2-footed tackles. And the guy I was with yesterday, Rich, goes, they could do with like a young version of Bully right now, you know, someone who's just all active. He was like, how old is he? He's 40, still at Crawley, doing a job there. But, you know, it's amazing how much you miss someone like that. And I just hope that as an outsider like me, someone who's just looking from the outside in, the problems I see, I hope Neil sees them as well and is going, right, we need bite in the midfield. Let's be fair, a target man would be very nice as well. Yep. I think Deji had a great game. Deji was marshalling it. You know, we talked about Jimmy Abdu as well yesterday. When Neil, I think he made his first or second sub, Jimmy was puffing. He was absolutely chugging. He looked like a car that was about to break down. And you had Darius just going, come on, keep going. And he was just like, right, yeah, we'll do it. But we just need to keep pushing on, you know, and I don't know, there are foundations and there's something to clutch onto and there is some hope to clutch onto there. I don't think this team is full of down and outers, but you know, there's something to clutch onto and something to build off. Yeah, and the recruitment's massive, but also who we keep this year. I agree with you, Jimmy. I don't think Jimmy's had enough games. That's the problem with Jimmy half the time. I think we have a nucleus of a team. I think Joe Pigott wasn't really one for this season. I think we'd have gone for him in the summer, really. He's definitely needs to go on the weights, and I think he's got a great presence in the box, good goal scorer. Don't forget, Anthony Hartigan will be a year older next year coming into that midfield. I really think it's a big year for Anthony Hartigan. I think, and that midfield, you're right, it does need, in a sense, it needs someone who's going to be a father in that midfield to Anthony Hartigan. Yeah. It needs an old head, doesn't it? Yeah. And if he gets that, because Anthony Hartigan could be the star next season, you know, passing ability. I saw him at youth level and he's outstanding for the age. He's got a sensible family behind him, so I don't think he'll get poached too quickly. But yeah, we've got a massive, target man's massive, nasty person in midfield, and probably look at the fullbacks. I think we need attacking fullbacks. That's what I would like. And we were just saying beforehand, really, Jonathan Meades going to midfield yesterday showed you how good Jonathan Meades is in midfield. Class. You know, is he wasted at left back? Do we need an attacking left back? Because I think, you know, the turn that Jonathan Meades did for that second goal gets better when you look at it. 10 past. Oh, sorry. Nasty Nick. 10 past 8. Love Sport Radio. 0208 70 25 58. That's the number to call. You can tweet us at Love Sport Radio. Going to be reading out some of those in a bit. This is Love Sport. So let's go to Twitter, because I've had a few tweets in. At Wickerboat has tweeted in saying, "Hi guys, is it too early for me to fly a banner over the MK Frenzy Dome that reads, 'How does it feel to have your league place stolen?'" It's actually not a bad point. Cheers, pal. Carmen Lopez has tweeted in a picture of Carlton Cole with his head steaming. Like, just steam flying. Does that happen to you often?
Sometimes, if I work too hard. Don't do that too much now.
Fair enough. Why did Walsall look so bad and Oldham so good? Was it because of the fight back at Walsall? Yeah, I think. But the thing is, the reason the teams are down there is not consistent, are they? Yeah. You know, we battered Walsall because we just wanted it more. And Oldham probably did to us what we did to Walsall in the second half at their place. I suppose the argument is we got away with a point, so that was the side of it. Carlton Cole, you're right. He's retired now, isn't he, I believe, after us. Has he? Yeah, I think he was so distraught that we didn't want him at League One that he retired.
That we got Lloyd Salmon in on a contract before him.
I would have taken Carlton Cole. Yeah, we've taken Lloyd Salmon, who's had about 3 or 4 minutes. Carlton Cole, always believe in your soul. Yeah, I'd have taken him just for, look at Craig Davies yesterday. I thought he was decent for Oldham. Oh, yeah. Strong, powerful. Yes, exactly, all those things. Okay, now, I talk about him every week. Wickham got banged up 4-0 yesterday. Yeah. Bayo was injured. He's just been given a new contract. It proves how much, one, they rely on him, and two, he should have... they should have just kept him. He would have done a job. Yeah, he would. And it's good that he's got a contract. There's another year on him. Yeah, you can see, when we had Bayo, everything goes through him. You can't help it. It reminded me of Kiefer Moore. If you watch Rotherham early in the season. Yes. They play exactly the same way.
I'm a big fan of his.
Big diagonals right back to Kiefer Moore.
Him and Kiefer Moore. He's a Barnsley.
But we played and we beat him 3-0, didn't we, at home?
Yeah, 3-1.
But they literally play long diagonals to Kiefer Moore and play everything off him. Very much how Wickham would play. And if you look at who they replaced him with, they replaced him with Michael Smith, who can do exactly the same job. So sometimes it's having a method of play, isn't it? And our method of play at the moment is playing nice little football triangles, which we just, not League One, just doesn't really suit that.
Do we have a method of play? Is that not the problem? Like, we're talking about recruitment in next season, and we're probably looking at a second consecutive summer where basically the spine of the team is going to get, it's likely to be completely overhauled, especially in midfield again, second season in a row. And we don't really have a set way. I've said this, it struck me the most when we played Plymouth the second time. When you looked at Plymouth's team and the squad, and you thought, I'm not seeing that. There's nothing there I think is particularly great aside from, what's his name, Carey. But they had this method that was drilled into them, a way of playing, that they all knew their jobs, they all know their roles, and it was as consistent week in, week out, and that's why they've been able to put results together and get themselves up the table. We seem to, aside from being conservative and a bit negative, our attacking play varies all the time. We don't really seem to have a set way of going about it.
The thing is, Nick, I sat down yesterday, the game kicked off. Firstly, I think Wimbledon looked good to start. Mm-hmm. They looked like they were knocking it around, like, Pigott was knocking like balls over like Barcelona, and I'm just literally like going, hold on a minute, why are these guys down here? But then you see the tiredness, the fatigue, the mistakes creep in. It's all good, but the thing is, there's no game changers on the bench. There's no one who you can go to and go, right, you can add something. I mean, Barchi was chasing every single ball down the line, but by 60-odd minutes, Wimbledon looked like they had no ideas left. It was a case of stick it up long and hope Lyle gets onto it. Stick it up long, hope someone chases it into the channels. And to be fair to Joe Pigott, I think he linked up really well with Lyle in the opening exchanges. And I think that Wimbledon played very well in the opening exchanges. And when they were going forward, they looked more likely to take their chances than Oldham. Oldham looked like, a bit limp in attack, but these guys look potent.
Yeah, and you're right. You only have to look at the subs yesterday. We brought a double substitution and change of a game of play, and that was George Trankham and Callum Kennedy, who are both fullbacks or midfielders. I think you're right. I remember saying one of the years gone by when we used to be able to bring Tom Elliott and Barnett on, and literally you say to your forwards, run yourself into the ground for 60 minutes, and we're changing. And we changed Lyle all the time, didn't we?
Yeah.
When now we say, Lyle, you're all we got.
Basically,
you're staying on, and Lyle, from chatting to Lyle, I know he's shattered at the moment after each game, but he will love the summer because he just needs a serious rest.
Yeah,
and hopefully he will be signing back for us.
It's not just the strikers though. You mentioned there. You're thinking yesterday Harry Forrester was not available either. He's a big shout. The fact we had Lloyd Sam on the bench, but no one ever thought that was a realistic option, speaks volumes, really, isn't it? It's
why? Because he's not fit.
Basically, yeah. I mean, the fact that Kwesi Appiah comes on tells you we need to know, because Kwesi, you've just coming back, just got the get-go in the week, wasn't it, that he could come back to playing, and all of a sudden you're sticking him on for 15 minutes. I mean, that tells the own story. What we expect of Kwesi Appiah, like, are we just getting him fit before the summer so he can go off on holiday? I mean, I don't see... He's not going to be...
You want a summer bod? Come to Wimbledon.
we were just saying before we started that, Wigan away on Saturday is... They're smashing everybody, aren't they? Is it a game, really, where you go, like Nick said... Do you say, Lyle, have a break, go and play Kwesi, go and play KPR, Magic Arge?
I think that's a type of cooker, I think.
Do you play Lloyd Sam? Do you literally go, Joe, what? We know we're going to get nothing here. We'll save our legs and we go for Doncaster, Bury. I think it's a good shout, which you said. It won't happen.
But I mean,
it's a great shout.
There must be a few changes you've got to have in mind, because your points are going to come from Doncaster and Bury.
But where do you change it?
In terms of Wigan game,
you take Lyle out.
I think you take the players, your key players out. I don't think, I don't see us going to Wigan and getting a point. I really don't. They beat us 4-0 at home, and we played well, which makes it seem really stupid. I think, do you sacrifice a game? And I'm not one for always doing that, but Doncaster and Bury, technically, if you get 4 points from them games, in whatever order, you're safe. I think you literally go with, you can play Callum Kennedy at left back, you could play Toby Sibic, you can play, you might play Jimmy Abdu in there, and you might not get away with losing Trotter.
Egley could come in.
Yeah. It's stuff you can do. Chuck Kwesi Appiah, give him 90 minutes, because I think the thing is, he needs game time, and actually, Joe, what, if we got Kwesi some game time, which means he's effective for one half of Bury, which could be the difference, then I think you take it.
I mean, in my opinion, I think there's now two places to play for. Well, to not play for effectively, you know, to avoid 21st and 22nd. I think 23rd is given to that mob, but 21st and 22nd are the ones we're looking to avoid. Just a quick rundown of the league table. Wimbledon on 18th position, 43 played with 50 points. Below them, directly are Walsall, 2 points behind, same games. Above them, though, Gillingham have played a game less. What is the game in hand? It's Tuesday.
Yeah, there's a set of fixtures on Tuesday. Top of my head. Can't remember. You remember the top of
Tuesday, the ones I've looked at were Oldham, Southend, Rochdale versus Plymouth. So Oldham, Rochdale both at home. One against the Southend side that did us a massive favour on yesterday, but I've got nothing really to play for. The other one, Plymouth, who lost at Northampton, so you'd expect them to be wanting to get something to keep them.
Well,
in the playoffs.
3 points for them, and if they win 8-0. they could overtake Scunthorpe.
What are those routine 8-0 victories?
One of them routine ones,
yeah.
You
know. We might. It's unlikely, isn't it? But
yeah, there's two games. Oldham, Southend, and Rochdale, Plymouth. Plymouth will not want to lose. Well, I don't think they will lose back-to-back games. And I would say, I don't know if you've seen the goal Rochdale conceded to Bradford in the last minute, where their keeper came out for a cross and totally lost it. Wow, Rochdale kicked themselves. And they've lost their striker, and they've now conceded a goal.
Yes, of course, yeah. And this is why I think we aren't going down, because I genuinely think, okay, this is partly tinfoil hat territory. We have a guardian angel at AFC Wimbledon that means that when it comes to the big moments, the luck always smiles on us. And this has been proven, I think, throughout history. It could well be Hayden. It could be Hayden. It could be Nick Roddice or someone like that. But no, all the way through. And I think the Rochdale example yesterday is a great one, because their keeper drops the ball onto the foot of Charlie Wyke in injury time, doesn't it? They've lost their top scorer. Walsall last week, we get a penalty in the 96th minute. It had gone 5 o'clock by the time the referee awarded that penalty. It was never a penalty. And then you could I could spend 4 hours talking you through the history.
If you carry on, the FA are going to be on to Wimbledon, and Eric's going to have a lot of paperwork to deal with on Monday morning. And I don't really fancy having a call from him.
I'm not suggesting anything untoward. I'm just saying that, because of what we went through, we're being rewarded with, divots at Thurrock and insides of the posts against Luton in the playoff final, and injured Hampton and Richmond players, and penalties against Fleetwood to keep you in the Football League.
Yeah, I think, Joe, the team's there now. I think if I was going to be a fan of any team in that bottom sort of that area, I'd probably be Walsall. Walsall would be my worry.
Yeah.
They don't seem to be able to pick up results. Their fixtures are not great either. So that would be the team that I think possibly would drop into it. We were looking just quickly before, the last 2 seasons, 50 points has actually kept the team up. So 50 points. The only time it hasn't was before, when the league was quite stretched, and 52 was probably then. So it's probably worst case scenario, 2 draws.
Right, 8:21 on Love Sport. I would like to hear your sort of. No, I'm not going to say. I don't know what the word is. I want to hear your weird rituals pre-game to try and invoke a bit of luck for the Wombles. What do you do? Because Nick seems to think that there's some sort of that God is coming back with a Karma style repayment plan for Wimbledon. What do you do to ensure the Wombles win? Because we've got a guy, he's a Palace fan, Hambo. He comes in, does the Homestyle radio. He's eating mutton rolls pre-game before, and I think they've only lost 1 in 17 every time he's eating mutton rolls for lunch. Wow. And in fact, funnily enough, he did it again on Thursday, tweeted us and told us, I had mutton rolls for lunch. I said, fair enough. They didn't lose yesterday. They should have had a penalty, in fact.
Yes.
They could have won it. So, look, I don't want to tempt fate, Let's not mess around with, the powers that be. I want to know yours. We're going to be reading out your tweets. We want to hear from you a bit more as well. It's at Love Sport Radio on Twitter, 0208 70 20 558. That's the number to call. Love Sport Radio, 5:58 a.m. Time to talk all things AFC Wimbledon, and let's go to Twitter. Gary Fletcher, all right, Fletch, has tweeted us at Love Sport Radio saying, "Can the season just finish? Fed up of looking at the league table. Next week is huge for us. We don't want to go until last game in bottom 4. Big Stew. Are we still safe? And love the beard. Hashtag Dons. Hashtag Ardley in."
I've got loads of grief about the beard, didn't I? Do you know what I mean? But
I can't think why.
Are we safe? We're not safe, are we? But do you know what? If you're anyone down that sort of bottom, sort of 4 or 5 teams fighting out for that one dreaded place, I know what team I'd rather be. So yeah, I think our fixtures are good. It's still in our hands. That's the thing. You know, if we remember going back to many years ago when we beat Fleetwood on the last day of the season, it was in our hands. That's all you can ask for. So, hey, look, I'd rather not go to Bury having to win a game. I'd rather do it at Doncaster. But if we have to win against Bury with the crowd the way they are at the moment, yeah, you've got to say we've got a very good chance.
Yeah, you would expect so. But I agree with Gary. I just want the season to end. And you know what? It doesn't seem to get any closer. Every time we get a game out of the way, you still like the end of the season still further away for some reason. It's bizarre.
Gary's actually tweeted back and said his boy Reece wore his yellow away shirt, Scunny away, Northampton away, Scunny at home, Charlton home, Oldham home. Saturday, do I make him wear it again versus Wigan or keep it for Donny and Bury?
You might as well save it. Save that luck for when you...
What I say is, what you need to do is, first and foremost, run it through the wash, Daz, 30 degrees, so it doesn't crack the sponsors.
Other washing powders are available.
Other washing powders are available. You know, if you like it silky soft with a meadowy freshness, use beep. Yeah, but anyway, get it washed, get it ready. Yeah, don't iron it. Get it ready. What game are we using it for? We need him.
Doncaster.
Yeah, Doncaster's the one, isn't it? They've got a big influence in terms of the bottom relegation places. So I think Doncaster, Tuesday night...
You heard him, Gary.
Yeah, Tuesday, we'll win at Doncaster, and we can then have a party. Well, there is a party, but we can have a relaxing game at home to Bury.
Yeah, we can be watching all the other teams struggling to stay up, can't we?
That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
It would just be nice to be... Yeah, because you know what? I spent half my time looking at my phone during games the last month, because you just constantly concentrate on other scores. It would actually be nice just to do that without having the nerves that everything's impacting you in some way.
Dana tweets us in saying, guys, we are more than capable of losing 3 games on the trot. Wigan will be no points. Away to Donny's tricky and Bury won a League One party days, sending us down with them. Yesterday was a massive 2 points lost, in my opinion.
The only thing about Bury are an awful side this season. They have been terrible. The only thing I would say is because it's the last game, because they've got no pressure on them anymore, like they did yesterday, it throws we get a point. And echoes of this happening to us in the past, where teams that have already been relegated come to us and turn us over, going back to the conference days. Was it Tamworth and Grays? I think we had that going on. And it does Morecambe towards the end of the season. I think they haven't gone down. But you know what I mean? It happens to us.
Yeah, teams can do that. But I just think a sellout at Kingsmeadow, last game of the season, Wimbledon needs to win. That would be a horrible place to come. So I think, look, it's in our hands.
If the atmosphere can rival yesterday's...
Yeah.
You know, I think We Are Wimbledon did it as well.
Yeah,
big up We Are Wimbledon. It was great hearing it. Shout out Mikey T for the righteous tunes. They were salubrious and sudorific. They were wonderful.
They were. That was great words as well.
I
love that We Are Wimbledon song is the fact you always get the people that sing along really loudly when it's Wimbledon, and then you get a lot fewer people trying to sing along with the rest of the lyrics. And, yeah.
We are Wimbledon.
That's exactly it.
I love it. It's cheesy and all that old FA Cup final song, which don't really happen nowadays, do they? But I love it. I think it's that and sort of Hey Jude and anything that can get the crowd going. But Joe, look, last game of the season against Bury, if we need to get anything, we couldn't argue. We all looked at the beginning of the season, didn't we? Let's be honest. We all looked at the beginning of the season and said, who do we finish at home to? And we all said, that could be a 6-pointer. Yeah, it's in our hands.
And we also said, similar to when we had Fleetwood on the last day, back in 2012, we thought, that's a great one to have at home if you need anything. So, yeah, we can't moan too much. I actually think away at Doncaster, it's done and dusted anyway.
Right. One more tweet before we head to a break. These fine gentlemen, our music aficionados, have said, once again, listening from the recording studio, final day of recording the album. You guys are sounding great. We'll be sending copies your way, hopefully before next season starts. They've also said they're going to hook me up.
They're a good band. They're a really good band. We've known them for about 2 or 3 seasons now, haven't we? Mm-hmm. Well, really good music.
I'll tell you what, if you can hook us up with a little bed for our show, a little Wimbledon-style bed, we'll use it on here.
Yes.
Yeah,
definitely.
I'll twist the bosses on. We'll use it on here. Let's go to a little break. We want to hear from you. 0208 70 25 58. Give us a tinkle. It's at Love Sport Radio as well. I'm going to address a little Neil Ardley shaped issue next. We've had a posting from someone. I really want to talk about it. This is Love Sport. We're back at Love Sport Radio. Who's very opinionated?
My wife. I'm just saying about the pledge. She's so
What's
opinionated.
The pledge?
It's basically journalists talking about the issues and stuff.
That's what we are.
Yeah, but my wife is very opinionated. She doesn't like it, but she does really.
Fair enough. Hopefully, are we going to have a new? Is there going to be a new One Ball in the World come new season?
Yeah, 3 weeks. I think tomorrow is the official day. So I'll be a dad. I've got to be responsible. I can't look after myself, Aaron.
I'm worried that this baby's going to be born in some sort of satanic ritual, and that's why Stu's gone for that beard. I think.
Do you remember like an Only Fools and Horses when Damien's born?
Hey, look, it'll be a Womble. It's already got a Wimbledon kit already. It'll be.
If it's a boy, can you call it?
Yeah, we know it's going to be a boy, but yeah, we know it's going to be a boy. So
any name suggestions?
We have, but I can't dare share that.
I'm going to say Michael because he was a big Michael Hughes fan. A Michael or a Robbie or Danny for Kedwell.
Oh, I'd love to name. I did name my dogs originally after.
Did you?
Yeah, Danny I named after Danny Kedwell. So, but yeah, no, I'm not going to name. I'm not going to name him after.
Sat after Hammam.
But yeah, little Womble will be in the world. So. It'll give you something good during the summer.
That'll be giving us something good for the summer and for the pre-season. Let's go to Facebook. Tim Probert has commented on a post that I put out earlier asking all you Wombles to get in touch with us this evening. And it's quite a long one. He said, this season seems to have extracted a big emotional toll on Neil to the extent that I'm worried he won't have the drive to undertake the necessary changes in the summer for 18-19. It may well be time for Neil to ride into the sunset with his legendary status secure and let a new man with more fortitude and fresh ideas take us forward. Thank you so much, Tin, firstly, for the post. An excellent post, very well written, very constructive, I would say.
Yeah, and it's a conversation that we were having before, weren't we, about Neil Ardley just looking, for a long time now this season, I wouldn't say beaten, that's the wrong word, very tired.
I'd say devoid of ideas.
And just essentially stressed is the only word you can
John, I was looking at pictures of when he first joined 5 years ago. I know we all look a little older from 5 years ago, but it looks like he's aged heavily this season. And one thing I do know about Neil Ardley, I've been fortunate enough to spend some time with him on sort of player-sponsor deals, player-sponsor meals.
Deals?
That's what we're trying to do.
Oh, wow.
Sorry, meals.
ITK in the night.
He is, isn't he?
Well, I've in the first 8 seasons, I sat on a table with him for a sponsors meal, and one thing I do know is he's very critical of himself. And at 1 year, he was bluntly said to me, Stu, it won't be that bad next season. I won't leave it. We recruit well, and he does take things really bad into heart, which isn't a bad thing. I think this year though, he has looked. I don't know about you, Aaron. You saw him yesterday. What did you? He looks like a tired person with a weight on his shoulders.
Tired. I mean, look, with Neil. It's such a tough one, and I say it quite a lot, His persona doesn't give off someone that's enthusiastic, that's going to jump around, that's just going to go nuts, and I look at a lot of other managers who on the sidelines are going berserk.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that at my football club, Louis van Gaal was detested by the fans because he never actually got out of his seat. I know Neil does get out of his seat, but it seems like Simon Bassey's on the touchline and Neil Cox is there, and they're the ones who are trying to get his message out, when surely it would be more inspiring from the number one to be doing that for the players. And maybe, I don't want to say he's lost the dressing room. I don't think he has, because I think we'd be in a far worse off position if he'd had lost the dressing room. But maybe, just maybe, one, he needs a break. B, he needs someone with him or above him.
I think you're right. I think he's very analytical. So he's very much into, as we know, he's into his statistics, and we have all the performance analysts and all the data, which is a lot. I mean, that's the way it is in football these days. But it does seem to be a little bit. We don't see what goes on behind the scenes, obviously, but somewhat of the emotions does seem to come out of it. We seem to lack a bit of that. If you think that's fair.
Yeah, I don't for 1 minute think Neil goes in there. I couldn't. Him losing his rag, I couldn't imagine him being a shouter or anything like that. And it was interesting to talk about shouters. Obviously, I was looking at the Arsene Wenger, obviously, leaving Arsenal, and saying, I think it was Ray Parder was saying, like, they couldn't believe it when he told off one there, I think it was Pat Rice or someone, to not shout at anybody. I'm not saying he's Arsene Wenger, but he's very much a thoughtful person. Doesn't believe actually losing your rag with a player is going to make him any better. I know what you mean about being on a touchline. Sometimes you do want him to be shouting, but does that get any effect? Look at people like Steve Evans on the bench and that. You think sometimes, are the players even listening to him?
It's one of those things where, like, I will liken it to teaching, where occasionally you have to have that in your locker to have a go. I wouldn't advocate it 24/7, like you say. Steve Evans probably is more like that. I wouldn't advocate that approach at all, but there are times when you need it, and it's more effective if you obviously don't use it as often. And I'm sure behind the scenes in the dressing room, I'm sure there are times where he has had to give them a bit of a hairdryer. the overall impression is that it's not. It's all very, like Lyle says, he hasn't lost the dressing room. If he's onside, he doesn't hang them out to dry in public or anything like that. And I think he's very same behind the scenes, to be honest with you. He will say it as it is, make it in a Wenger-type way. There are times I would say that perhaps a certain game up in Buckinghamshire, twice this season even, that those fixtures, I think we lacked a little bit of that aggression and that passion. And
I couldn't disagree.
That aggression was probably what was missing yesterday.
Yeah, and also the question that we had was there about, does he need a break? Hey, look, he probably needs to go away for 2 or 3 weeks and refresh. But we all know in football that as soon as, I could lay money, as soon as the season finishes, he's going to literally straight on doing a conversation with the players who've got contracts, who haven't. I can imagine he's not going to get much of a break. But yeah, he does in a way. Hey, look, I think he'd be there next season on that side of it. But I think I would like someone to work with him.
I think he deserves another transfer window. Obviously, we know last season that budgets were depleted. There wasn't anything there for him to really, make a dent in it. Apparently, I've read and I've heard that, budgets are going to be a bit better this summer. So maybe if we've got over the worst of it, the worst of the storm now, one transfer window will really do something for him, and maybe he will be able to bring in the players that he wants to bring in, and he will be able to actually shape the squad and turn it into a half-decent League One team with a view to pushing up in the next few seasons.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because at the moment, his objective, from what we believe from America, is that to finish 4 places above where we sit in the budget table. We had an open meeting on Tuesday night at the club, didn't we? We attended.
Yeah, Thursday, yeah.
Sorry, Thursday.
I read your excellent commentary, lads.
Yeah, that's Nick, that's not me. I can't write them.
I'm going to take credit for it, even though it wasn't me.
Was it not?
No, it wasn't me.
I thought it was.
So,
who was it?
It was Mark, believe it or not.
Was it really?
Mark Hendricks, yeah.
Wow, I've got to give him some credit.
Although he was, I must say, checking before he submitted it, in a sort of teacher-esque marking kind of style.
But it did say that we're going to increase the budget by quite a considerable amount. It will bring us quite higher up in it won't bring us up to top 10, but it'll bring us higher than what we are. But does that put even more pressure on Neil Ardley? Because at the moment, pressure-wise, he's got to save us from relegation. If we do go into that, his target may well be mid-table, which is a challenge in itself. I agree with you. I think he does need another recruiting window. What I would say, though, Aaron, is I think the fans at the moment, there was a lot of feeling in the open meeting about the boring football and the standard football.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get the recruiting window right, he will lose the fans instantly. That's my concern. I think at the moment he hasn't got that leeway that he had when we got promoted of Neil Ardley to say, great promotion we done at Wembley, but I don't think he's got that feel-good factor. So unless we have an amazing window, I do think the fans will be on his back straight away. Yeah,
and I think there is an element sometimes of taking fans for granted. And I think we've reached a stage now, we've progressed to a point in our, however you want to say it, our progress, wherever we are in the world of football now, where you can't bank on fans always being there and being passionate and wanting to go every week and what have you. I think this is going to be a very interesting summer to see what things are like with season tickets and things like that, because I think there's a lot of people that just aren't going. We know people that got season tickets that haven't been to I don't know how many games this season, because they don't see they see it as a chore. And I'm going to be honest, I include myself in that. Apart from the last couple of weeks, I'd wake up on a Saturday morning and I think, I can't be bothered today. Yeah. I really can't.
And the message was at the open meeting about boring. I heard it so many times. This season's been boring, and it is an entertainment. There's no you've got the loyal fans, the diehards. Nick and I are diehards. We go and watch anything really. But you have got people that has choice, and there was a choice in London.
Do you think, very, very quickly, that Neil might call time on his reign himself? He seems like the kind of diplomatic guy to do something like that, and he doesn't. He seems like a proud man. I've met him a few times. He's a proud man. He's not, the most vocal. He won't scream and shout, but he has his own morals and he has his own standards. And I feel that maybe. And I'm not saying anything, I haven't been told anything, I don't know anything, I'm saying this purely as a guess and a bit of speculation. I really wouldn't be surprised if you see that statement one day saying Neil Ardley has decided to walk away, because maybe he needs a break. It's intense.
Yes, my opinion is he's holding out. He wants to be that guy that leads us out in plough lane for the first time. He wants to be in charge for that, so he will ride out any storm because he wants to be there for that. I agree with you, though. He is a man of morals, of man of stature. I think as a representative of a football club, as your manager, I'm more than happy with him. I think if you say who's your manager, Neil Ardley, fantastic guy, he really is, really intelligent guy, really personable guy, just an all-round top man, really, isn't he? Let's be honest. He is someone that you hold up as, I'm proud to have you as our manager. And
that's why it's been difficult this year, because you're right, we've been lucky enough to talk to him, and he's a lovely guy, and you don't actually, for one thing, you don't like seeing him going through what he's gone through this season. It's not been enjoyable. And I think any other manager, and I think this is what was said again in the open meeting we had on Thursday, was any other manager without any link to Wimbledon, we would have been on their back and said, look, go. But I think he's so well respected, and what he's done for the club, I think we have to forget, he got us out of League Two when we were never anywhere near the best team in the league. We got through the playoffs, but, Bayo, we've talked about before, Bayo was our super sub back then. We got out of League Two, had a great day at Wembley, beating Plymouth, who were fancied in that final.
Oh, no, 100%.
And I think we have to remember sometimes what he's done. You can't always, and I go to Arsenal, you can't always go on there. But, I think he does deserve that.
Love Sport Radio, we are going to be going back to social media. Plenty to talk about. I want to talk about Player of the Year. I want to talk about season tickets. You name it, we're going to be talking it. All things Wimbledon here on Love Sport.
The Fans Show on Love Sport with 7otb.com. Play your way to £1 million.
Back on Love Sport Radio. Who wants to dive in about season tickets?
Let's go. So kind. Season tickets.
You're more than one.
So what we've had is we touched it last week. So we had the letter that goes out with season ticket renewals that said that this season the club will be implementing a new rule of terms and condition, if you want, of your season ticket, which is you must attend or notify the club of your non-attendance for 80% of games this coming season. Otherwise, they will refuse you the right to renew your season ticket in the first wave of renewals, which basically means if we sell out of season tickets, you won't get one. If, however, we don't sell out of season tickets, you can then come back at the end and still get one. All right? I think that's a point that was sort of maybe a little bit missed in fairness to the club, although you could argue that's because they didn't communicate it very well, and I think by their own admission they have admitted at this meeting on Thursday that communicating the whole idea was done poorly and it was rushed through. It's upset, though, so many people. It doesn't affect you or I, does it, Stu? It doesn't affect either of us, to be honest with you. I said that wrong, sorry, you and me. It doesn't affect you and me.
Yeah.
It doesn't bother us, but on behalf of other people, I think it's a bad idea. Even though it has no bearing on my life whatsoever, I don't like it. A lot of people registered their disapproval of it on Thursday, and the club and the Don's Trust Board, I believe, are going to have conversations about it going forward to try and see what they can do.
Okay.
Well, I cannot, though, put it strongly enough in my words about how this issue has been mismanaged. You don't rush through something like that without consulting the fans, and especially at our club, unfortunately.
Isn't that the point of a fans-owned club?
Yeah, we're not expecting to have a say on absolutely every single decision. You can't do that, and you can't turn around and think you can do whatever you like to do as a fan at a match day or whatever because it's a fans club. No, it doesn't work like that. But this is a big issue that is affecting a lot of people, and they're very, very unhappy with it. So the biggest concern is that we weren't consulted prior to it. I don't think the Don's Trust Board were given enough time. It wasn't put in front of them with them enough time to actually deliberate it properly. And then the final thing is we've communicated it poorly. It's a bad idea. If we've got a problem with people not attending games, absolutely, we want to sort it. Don't.
Is this so that the tickets can be resold? Effectively, the seats can be resold.
Yeah.
So why don't they just open a ticket exchange where you can make a donation to the Don's Trust as well?
This is what was said, wasn't it? What's the incentive? It was more case it was sold as that we've got people on a waiting list and we've got new fans coming in, and there's a waiting list and we don't want to get empty seats at games and people missing out. Hey, look, there's also a thing about claiming back the VAT. There was a lot of people saying, I think the thing that struck me was that I kept hearing the word new fans. That's all I kept hearing in the presentation from Joe Palmer on Thursday night. And that, behind me, that rattled quite a few people. Because I think, yes, we accept we're going to have new fans in a new ground. We know that.
Yeah.
But actually, what's there for the loyal fans that have been there through thick and thin, who maybe haven't had 5-year consecutive, for whatever reason, it might not be their fault. And I think that's what's rattled people. You pay for a season ticket up front. You give them the money up front. And you own that seat. And I think people have just gone, we own that. I think the club, by their own admission, and Nick's right when it said, I think they've realised that now. I think if there had been some sort of incentive, as you say, something back to the Don's Trust Board, or some sort of voucher to use in the club shop, that the money still goes to the club, that would have been a better way of setting it.
Yeah, and actually when you look at the ins and outs, which were explained a little bit more to us on Thursday night for people that were at the meeting, all the caveats are in there to make sure it's as fair as it can be, I think. And on a practical there's also, actually, I should say, there is a practical element to this as well, by the way. I think Eric said about the Tottenham tickets, I'll reference this on Thursday as well. The Tottenham ticket situation that happened in January, Eric admitted at a Don's Trust board meeting that the club had tried to be very, very helpful, but it was impractical. They were impractical in the type of help they could offer because they didn't have the resources to do it properly. This situation, you've got to log and keep a register of every single season ticket holder, when they've attended, when they've notified you they've not attended. It's a big administrative task. We struggle because we don't have the space at Kingsmeadow, as Eric explained on Thursday. We don't have the numbers of staff, so it becomes a practical issue. But that aside, everything all the terms and conditions and stuff like that all kind of makes sense. It's the overall sort of almost philosophical, moral point of this, which is essentially it's punishing people. And although it's not, I don't think this is the intention, but this is the way it comes across, which is unfortunately perhaps a comms issue as well. The inference is that if you're not going to come, or if you're not going to tell us you're not coming, you are a bad fan, and we're going to sanction you because of that. You're not a bad fan. You're not a bad fan at all. You've stumped up your money up front and helped out our budget, which we struggle with, and you're telling us because you don't do this or that, we're going to put you in a negative light, and that is, of course, going to rile people and upset people. So they've gone back to I think they're going back to the drawing board. We have another Don's Trust SGM on Thursday, which I'm now told, which I didn't know, is now doubling up as well as the AFCW PLC meeting that was postponed the other day.
Okay.
I don't know how that's going to work. We await to hear more on Thursday.
Well, thank you to Nick for all the housekeeping. You know, very nice you, Nick.
He loves all that. He does it very well.
You know, you could be a good administrator of something.
Thanks.
If you wanted to be an administrator of something, you know.
Could be Alexa Bliss's PA. That'd be good.
Whose?
We got a rest.
Alexa Bliss. What do you mean who?
He loves his wrestling.
Right.
That's thrown arrow. Look at that.
Yeah, he's totally confused him there. Let's go back to tinfoil hat theories, though.
Right, okay, 10 to 9. We have got a lot of tweets to read out. Let's read them out after this.
Love Sport.
Yeah, back on Love Sport Radio, my co-host for my next hour has just pointed that he's got a cup of tea. Yeah, nice one, Sahel. Thanks for getting me one, pal. Appreciate it. You're very kind. Anyway, to Twitter, 15 years, Womble's been in touch twice. Said, do you reckon we have an 80% chance of staying up? No, I think we have an 81% chance of staying up. 15 years, Womble. Do you like that?
I like it.
What about you? What kind of number are you at the moment? If you were a Microsoft Windows loading screen with that little sand timer thing, where would you be at now with your bars? If you had 10 bars, where would you be? How many bars?
9.9 bars.
9.9. You'd be stuck on 99.
Yeah.
The CD still spinning.
It would never ever load, and you'd have to switch it or turn it off and on again.
I reckon 8.5. I reckon for me.
It's like Championship Manager 3 all over again.
Yes.
Oh yeah, memories.
15 years Womble's also tweeted about saying, if we stay up on the last day of the season versus Bury and we have a pitch invasion, Chelsea will go ballistic, but whatever. The Chelsea kids run on the pitch after every AFC Women's match anyways. Hashtag what goes around comes around.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Oh, there's a lot to unpack there, isn't there?
Do you know what? In all seriousness, yes, there will be a pitch invasion because it happens. It's a really weird thing how you can celebrate surviving on the final day of the season and then view your season as a success.
If we invade a pitch, can I hide behind you?
Hey, look, I can't even get over the barriers.
You know what? You were talking about wrestling. Me and him are going to climb over the barriers.
What, like a steel cage match?
Yeah, basically.
Like that.
You know, like in wrestling, the Great Khali goes over the ring like that. That's something me and him. We're going to do that. Anyway,
nice. The Great Khali reference. I never thought we'd hear that.
Okay. Anyway. John Martin has posted a great tweet. He's tweeted out Love Sport Radio saying, I think almost everyone wants Neil to make it to Plough Lane. So right about the recruitment, also him having support though. New assistant manager, ? I really enjoyed the 9 Years podcast episode about manager development, employment and security, etc. Thanks for your message, John. We love you too. What do you reckon of that?
No, not new assistant manager. I think that's a partnership that is, well, it's been there since day dot as Neil as a manager, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't think we get enough access isn't the right word, but we don't hear enough from Neil Cox. That's not Neil Cox's fault. I think he does. Neil, what you want from an assistant manager is someone that you can rely on, someone that you trust, and someone's going to be honest with you. And I think Neil gets that in Neil Cox. And I don't think we can really comment on that relationship or anything like that. What I'd say is we need to get the wider fan base need to get to know Neil Cox more, because I don't think they really do.
It's a weird one, isn't it? I was just saying before, and I sponsored Neil Cox's away kit for about the last 3 years. Got on, I do talk to him quite a bit. Top guy, and you're right. Neil, they play together at Watford, and that's where they built their friendship up.
Yeah, of course.
And they trust each other. I think Neil Ardley knows that Neil Cox will call him out if he makes a wrong decision. He's not frightened to do that. But most teams now come into the management team, don't they? You very rarely see new assistant managers come in. You very much see a management team go, then they bring their staff in, don't they, and that sort of thing. I think a director of football is a different argument. I think that could be.
I think that could be very, very interesting. Carmen Lopez has tweeted us saying, and the funny thing is, she's tweeted Ardle, A-R-D-L-E, space Y, so I think it's Ardley does, you know what I mean? Like it's in the Spanish sentence, but Ardley does show emotion on the touchline, at least when Tyrone Barnett was on the pitch. Hashtag Ardley in. Who would take over from Ardley in the summer? I don't know names. Who to take over from Neil Ardley in the summer? You know what? He's still got a job, Carmen.
Yeah, that's
he's still got a job.
Yeah.
You know? So that's just the way it is. Mark has tweeted us in saying, thanks for the tip of the hat for the commentary at the club meeting. Collective effort, really, Mr. Draper. Player of the year for me, young player of the year is Hartigan, hands down. Elsewhere, who else was saying about the player of the year? Someone else. Oh yeah, Stephen Hayward. Is player of the season going to be discussed? My vote is Deji. What a beautiful man he is.
I've got to say we've had two people there say they're player of the years. George Long was there from Mark, and then the second one there mentioned Deji, and I think we're going to disagree with both, aren't we?
Yeah, for me it's Lyle Taylor by a mile, if I'm being honest with you. Do you know what Deji is for me? Deji's a great athlete and great with his feet. Over the season, he defensively, sometimes he makes some bad decisions, and Darius has covered him a lot in those situations. I don't think Deji, for me, if I'm being honest with you, no disrespect to Deji, he's not my player of the year. I think Lyle has won us games.
Yeah.
He's led up front on his own, and he's worked tirelessly. There's no surprise when he comes off with cramp, because he leaves everything on the pitch, and for me, that's why
he cut a very frustrated figure yesterday.
Yeah, he don't like losing. Which is good. Good in the football.
Yeah, he was probably as well. Just didn't. He had nothing to work on.
Not really lost yesterday, of course, but yeah.
No, I know, but we know what you mean. It felt like a loss bizarrely afterwards for some reason.
Mine's Lloyd Sam.
3 minutes.
In fact, no, mine's Carlton Cole, just for the morale boost at the training ground. For the amount of youth games he's played and reserve games he's played. Carlton, you are, because you're inspiring the kids of tomorrow. Well done.
It's a nice shout out for Carlton, bless him.
But Andy Hartigan, only had half a season, and he's loved, he's held in a great esteem already at that club.
Okay, 1 minute to wrap up. It's a free-for-all. Who wants to talk about what? What do you want to push on about?
We've got to ask you a question.
Go for it. Because
we do this to every single guest that's ever on the podcast, but we've not asked you yet. So, cup of tea.
Yeah.
You like a cup of tea?
Yeah.
Yeah, love a cup of tea.
Now and then.
When you're making a cup of tea, do you put the bag in the cup first?
Yeah.
Or do you put the milk in the cup first?
Bag.
Well, there you go. We knew it. We already knew you were going to say that because you're a good guy.
And James Shea, unfortunately, said milk.
James Shea.
That's why you're playing at Luton, James Shea.
We had Jake Reeves disown him, and he spoke to us the other day. Then he want to change his mind, but no, James, you've said.
Sorry, James. Once you make your first, we'll have to take your first answer.
Exactly.
Your first answer, James. Apologies for that. Plenty to look forward to this week. Come on, you Wombles, we can do it. Come and follow the South West London sound. That's it from the 9 Years podcast. We're back next week.